to not accept that. That would affect everybody.
Right, Professor Swaran Singh joins us for more on this. He's the professor of international relations at JNU. Thank you so much for taking up the time and joining us on this very important bulletin, sir. Professor, now I'd like to start by asking you the bottom line here. Who really feels the shutdown first and who feels it the hardest?
Obviously, there is a whole spectrum of people who will get impacted. Immediately, of course, there could be a large number of federal employees, but also by extension, all those who depend on federal loans or federal contracts, particularly small businesses which depend on regular cash flows. But in long run, also the whole the system of United States in terms of its global credibility, United States being largest economy on the planet means such disruptions will also impact global stock exchanges. Commodity prices could go up because US is the most important importer of heavy value, high value commodities. It could also mean impact on American prestige and credibility among friends and so on. And what makes it particularly intriguing is that this time, though there have been several shutdowns or one-day gaps between funding, this time we have been hearing President Trump from the very beginning trying to cut down the size of bureaucracy. And he's very clearly adamant on not really changing or reversing tax cuts or coming back to healthcare subsidies. So
I'd
it's a
like to come
policy
in there,
divide.
Professor Singh. You very interestingly, sir, mentioned credibility. I have a question around this. Is this crisis all about budget or is it also about politics? And how long can essential workers go on without being paid?
I was exactly coming to that, that this is not a simple contestation on a budget in terms of numbers. It's a clear policy divide that is making it more difficult to bridge the gap between two sides. Obviously, Democrats are very upset with the fact that Republicans chose to pass it clean in the House, as they are saying, because they could muster the majority there. But in Senate, they need sort of supra majority of 60 out of 100 numbers, and they have only 53, so they depend on Democrats here. And that is where Democrats are now insisting that for each vote they need concessions. And what we are reading in media is that they are asking for concession of healthcare subsidies up to $1 trillion, which may not be easily acceptable to Republicans. So I am assuming that the shutdown is not going to end very soon. It could go up to a week, even worst case fortnight. And that would mean 1% sort of reduction of US GDP in terms of productivity coming down. And that is what makes it really much more serious and complex with global implications. It will impact their visas, embassy operations, international negotiations. We are doing India-United States trade negotiations. It could even go as far as that. So it's a policy divide, and I think the whole very strange and adamant attitude of President Trump very clearly makes it difficult. And it serves his purpose in also cutting down the fat and the bureaucracy, as he keeps saying repeatedly. So not
Right,
just
Professor.
the temporary jobs, non-essential jobs, even permanent and essential jobs are at stake right now.
Now, another question that is, viral and doing the rounds on social media is basically this: do shutdowns actually save government money and public money, or in the long run, does the government end up spending more because of the log jams? We know there be a log jam in passports, as you were mentioning. There be log jam in many other fields in the country. So will the shutdown actually save public money or government money, or in the long term will it cost the country more?
There is no doubt. We remember that the last 2018-19 shutdown meant that about 850,000 employees were furloughed.
That's correct.
So one could really talk about, even the estimates are this time, the estimates are about 750,000 could be furloughed. So one could maybe stretch an argument to say, yes, there is some saving somewhere, but loss is much greater. Even on regular earnings, the revenues, for example, all the national parks, all the national museums, etc., would be closed down, and so many non-essential services will be unavailable to people, which would actually mean loss of money, more loss of revenue for the government, but much indirect cost of the whole rattling of businesses, economies, services, credibility, that the kind of credit ratings itself could get impacted of United States if it goes as far as I said, between a week and a fortnight. So there is a short-term, immediate, and long-term cost. So in cost-benefit analysis, the
Absolutely.
advantages would be very limited, and cost will be much higher.
Right. Thank you so much for weighing in on this very important development that has in fact taken place. And its ripples will not only be felt across the US, but across the world as at that. Thank you so much once again, Professor Singh, for joining us on this Wednesday edition of India Global. Viewers, shifting focus, there are big changes not only coming in the US, but they're coming in the UK for foreign workers. And Indians are likely to be among groups that will feel it the most. Now, the Labour government in its latest move has in fact doubled the waiting time for permanent residency from 5 years to 10 years. Now, this means more time in limbo for skilled migrants, especially Indians, who, by the way, remember, make up the largest group of workers and students in the UK. And it's not just about the wait here. Applicants will now have to pass new good citizen tests. They'll have to prove that they're fully integrated. And how are they expected to do this? Well, by showing strong English skills, steady financial contributions, and even community service. Can you believe it? British Home Secretary, meanwhile, Shabana Mahmood, says, or rather claims, that the policy is about restoring fairness and public trust. But for tens of thousands of Indian professionals, this means higher costs, more uncertainty, and of course, needless to say, a much longer road to finally settle down in the UK. So will these tougher rules really fix the UK system, or will they just make life even harder for those who are already playing by the rules? Now, to discuss this and to delve in on many other facets, we've got Prashant Ajmera, immigration lawyer, joining us. Thank you so much for joining us on this Wednesday edition of India Global, Mr. Ajmera. My first question to you is simply, is doubling the wait time truly about integration, or is it just political signaling?
Definitely it's troubling, number one. And number two, the making it the 10 years, does it make the system better? I don't think so. Because there are so many other issues are there which needs to be addressed. Rather than looking at those ones, the skilled workers who are coming from in India and from all over the world, the threshold is put on them about the 10 years wait times, better English test, better community services, what you have contributed, how you have integrated. And these are all very subjective kind of an assessment could be, which can make it difficult for people to do it in any way. I mean, you can never had a open immigration policy unlike Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. But with this one coming from a liberal government, definitely it makes a very, very difficult for the skilled workers, and it is going to affect more to the skilled workers coming from in India.
Advocate Ajmera, how might these changes impact the UK's ability to attract global talent, especially from India? We've been seeing similar steps being taken in the US, and that has, in fact, disparaged Indian talent from going to the US. How would these policies impact or change UK's ability to attract global talent, according to you?
It will be very, very difficult for them, definitely, because as of now, to be honest with you, the threshold is quite high. And in that one now, if this thing is coming up, then if I want to stay in a UK, do I need to wait in a 10 years of uncertainty whether I'm going to get a permanent residence or not? So it is going to be difficult for people to, for the UK government to attract the talents, not only from India, from around the world. Unless you are a really highly skilled workers, highly paid in a top Fortune 500 companies, if you are working, then only you're going to make it. So what about the other ones? It is going to be very difficult for people, and also equally it is going to be difficult for the government to attract the skilled workers and professionals from across the world. Definitely, it is going to be difficult.
Of course. On to the million-dollar question here, Advocate Ajmera. What legal or human rights challenges could this policy eventually face going forward? Could a sense or a degree of discrimination be probably also alleged?
Not necessarily. When it comes to the skilled workers, all the 5 English-speaking countries I have seen continuously on an ongoing basis, they change their regulations time to time, and it's their right as a government to change their policy with the way in which they think proper. So could it lead to any kind of litigations or something like that? I very much doubt. I don't think that it's going to happen because this is for a skilled worker. If it was affecting the other areas, which is refugees and those kind of workers, means people coming to USA, to UK, it might have gone to the court and challenging something like that. But nothing is talking about on that one. But it's making it difficult for the skilled worker. So the problem is with the people coming in a boat to UK. To solve that problems, they are hammering and shouting at the skilled workers. To me, obviously, it doesn't make a sense.
Very important. Yes, a very important point. In fact, you raised there. Apologies to cut you off like that. But does this shift signal also the end of UK as a top destination for skilled migrants that we've been seeing across, through the decades together?
Right. Yes. Yeah. It is going to be difficult. People will start thinking twice, because as it is, as I said that in the beginning of my answers, that as it is, it was a difficult destination. They don't have any open immigration policy. That means you need to find a company to sponsor you. And now it was 5 years, so people thought that they can stay. But now waiting for 10 years, you cannot change your jobs. If you lose a job, then what is going to happen? You have to look for another job. So it is 10 years of an uncertainty. Nobody wants to stay in that one. So yes, it is going to be difficult for the government, and particularly it is coming from a liberal government is really shocking, because I have lived in UK for 6 years, and generally when we see that the rules become stricter, we see it's coming from a Tory government or a conservative government, whereas this one is coming from a liberal government. Generally, they've been regarded as a pro-immigrants or means in favor of the immigrants, but it's coming from this government is really shocking.
Well, thank you so much, Advocate Ajmera, for delving in and helping, in fact, us flesh out the nitty-gritties and the details of this very important stories. We shift our focus now, viewers, to Canada, where Foreign Minister Anita Anand's upcoming visit to New Delhi marks a major attempt to, in fact, reset India-Canada relations. Now, she recently met Indian External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar in New York, who called the talks positive and also welcomed the appointment of new High Commissioners. The visit comes as both governments have agreed to keep diplomatic channels open. Now, this comes despite a few sticking points and ongoing court cases. It also comes at the back of Canada's designation of the dreaded Lawrence Bishnoi gang as a terror entity. Meanwhile, Anand says she's coming to discuss the next steps, in her words, but the outcome may very well depend heavily on how these talks unfold in New Delhi. And with that, it's time we slip into a short break. Much more lined up on the other side.
We should have left centuries ago.
It's okay. I'm with the AA.
Because the AA has more expert patrols in more places than anyone else, you'll be back on the road in no time. That's why millions of drivers choose the AA. Join today.
Hello?
Sometimes it's the little things that remind us of them. Stay close, even when you're far apart. Send money worldwide with Remitly.
Sadly, we're resigning from the Bank of Santander.
We couldn't compete with Santander.
Giving cash back on supermarket shops, even giant light bulbs.
but we're going out in style!
Take it away!
Start spreading the news.
Start spreading the news.
We're leaving today.
That's too early!
Santander's Edge credit card rewards your spending.
There is nothing more satisfying than bagging a great deal on your travel insurance and jetting off with peace of mind. Or that savvy feeling you get when you settle a claim with up to £250 excess refund reward on car insurance, and the positive feeling of protecting your furry friend. Be more like the residents of Savvy Street and feel the deal at...
Compare!
Hey Sainsbury's, usual big shop. Can you save me a few quid?
Well, Wayne, try your Nectar prices.
My what?
Your Nectar prices. In your Nectar app, you'll find personalised discounts on up to 10 things you love. It's personalised to you, Wayne. Too personalised?
Yeah, just a touch.
Agreed, we'll stick to prices. Save every week with your Nectar prices. Sainsbury's, good food for all of us.
Welcome back. You're watching the Wednesday edition of India Global Viewers. In a heated protest, in fact, erupted outside the UN Human Rights Council in Geneva as members of the Awami League accused interim Bangladesh leader Muhammad Yunus of illegally taking power and also enabling religious extremism. That's correct. They claim Yunus, once a global peace icon himself, has in fact silenced opposition and cracked down on minorities, especially Hindu and dissenters. Now, placard at the protest, as you see right there on your screen, branded Yunus a killer and a terrorist, demanding his resignation and the cancellation of his Nobel Peace Prize. Speaking to media, Awami League leaders alleged Yunus seized power through violence and is in fact tilting Bangladesh towards Pakistan, straining historic ties with India. Listen in.
Yunus government is, in my view, he is completely illegal. He took state power by terrorist attack, and he is committing illegal things in Bangladesh, and there is a minority and a political opposition are arrested without any complaint. They are in jail without any complaint. And they are killing in the jail.
Well, you heard the Awami League's Switzerland secretary there. Meanwhile, former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina even addressed the crowd by phone, backing the protesters. Meanwhile, Yunus back home has defended his interim rule repeatedly, saying elections will follow once key reforms are done. However, he's been dilly-dallying on the timeline. Now, the latest timeline, he says, is around February 2026. Meanwhile, he's also denied all accusations of anti-Hindu violence, calling them quote-unquote fake news. However, critics continue to warn that under Yunus's leadership, democracy and rights in Bangladesh may very well be eroding really fast. And for the time being, the political storm around Muhammad Yunus shows no signs of slowing. And with the election still uncertain, the international spotlight is only getting bigger and hotter. Meanwhile, a 6.9 magnitude offshore rocked Philippines, killing at least 69 people with 140 others injured. This, as officials warned, the numbers could very well climb further as rescuers, in fact, access collapsed buildings. The Indian embassy in Manila, meanwhile, has expressed its deepest condolences to the families of those affected by the earthquake in the island nation. Meanwhile, here are some of the most defining visuals from the earthquake. First up, CCTV footage from Cebu City shows residents panicking as they began to feel the ground shaking or the tremors, sending people dashing out into streets. Residents also panicked in the dark as the intense shaking cut off power supply, with videos showing structures collapsing and crowds running in fear at a public market. And a not-so-picturesque ending, by the way, to the Miss Asia Pacific International 2025, as viral visuals again show chaos erupting during the closing gala night of the event as panic-gripped models fell off the runway, which began shaking as the 6.9 magnitude quake hit the country. It sent everyone to seek shelter under tables to protect themselves in a last-ditch effort from the falling debris. Now, one of the contestants, Miss Belgium, also suffered an injury after falling off the runway. And finally, among the many buildings which collapsed, it includes a centuries-old church. The Archidocian shrine of Santa Rosa de Lima in Cebu suffered extensive damage. Visuals on your screens right now show piles of debris outside the sanctuary, with large sections of historic building visibly torn apart. Rubble was also scattered inside the monastery, where properties were destroyed. Built back in, or way back, I should say, in 1886, the shrine is considered the country's first church dedicated to Saint Rosa of Lima. Meanwhile, India has raised strong objections at the Asian Cricket Council meeting on Tuesday and grilled the ACC chief and Pakistan Cricket Board chairman Mohsin Naqvi for his part in the Asia Cup trophy fiasco during the post-match presentation after the Asia Cup final, which India won on Sunday. Team India refused to accept the trophy from Naqvi, and he in return, well, what did he do? He responded by taking it to his custody. That's right. PCC Vice President Rajiv Shukla, meanwhile, who also attended this ACC meeting, asked tough questions of Naqvi and also grilled him for not handling the trophy to the victorious Indian team. Not only this, Shukla also reminded Naqvi that the trophy is the property of the Asian Cricket Council and not Naqvi himself, who just, by the way, viewers, took it along with him to his hotel room. Difficult to believe, but he actually did that. Naqvi took the trophy to his hotel room. The BCCI Vice President Rajiv Shukla also said that the trophy needs to be handed to Team India in a proper manner and that the ACC should look into the matter immediately. Well, with that, it's a wrap on this Wednesday edition of India Global. Take care and have a wonderful day.
This is an urgent appeal from the charity WaterAid. Every day, children like Karim have to walk miles to collect water like this. Water so dirty, it could kill them. But they have no choice. Every day, babies have to drink water that is teeming with insects and bacteria. Their mothers know it could kill them, but they have no choice. Today, more than 1,000 children will die from poor sanitation, hygiene, and dirty water. They drink it because they have no choice. But you do. Today, you can choose to give children like Karim clean water and change everything. Text or call WaterAid now to give just £2 a month. Your £2 a month will help communities install pipes, pumps, and taps. Your £2 a month will help bring children clean water for life. We've already brought clean water to nearly 30 million people, but it's simply not enough. So please, text the word water to 82727 or call 0800 088 7787. Please, act now, because until we reach every child like Karim, they'll have no choice but to keep drinking dirty water that could kill them. Thank you.
Country.
The UK's first human heart transplant has been completed, supported by the British Heart Foundation.
We were a noisy generation, but it might be something quiet we do that becomes our greatest legacy. Leave a gift in your will to the British Heart Foundation and fund groundbreaking research that could help save millions of lives. Search BHF Wills.
This is an important message for people living with diabetes from people living with diabetes.
When I was experiencing the symptoms of diabetes, I didn't know what was going on.
You go on the internet and it's full of horror stories.
I didn't understand about carbs, I didn't understand about blood glucose levels.
That's why the support I get as a Diabetes UK member is so important.
You can become a Diabetes UK member for just £3 a month. When you do, you'll receive a practical guide specific to your type of diabetes and a copy of Balance magazine 4 times a year. Plus, you'll help support research that could lead to better treatments for all types of diabetes.
As members, we're all working it out together.
Call 0800 144 5410 or go online to become a Diabetes UK member for just £3 a month. Join us now because membership can help you learn to live better with diabetes.
Some people think life slows down in your 50s, but I've got a few rounds left to go. And I don't want my lot to have to worry about funeral costs. Let them spend their money on nicer things. So I decided to learn more about over 50s life insurance from Cover Today. Cover Today are the only over 50s life insurer with no waiting period, unlike other insurers who could make you wait up to 2 years for full cover. With Cover Today, you're fully covered from day one, and you're covered for the whole of your life. Plus, unlike other things in life, the price never goes up. Go online or talk to their friendly UK team in just one phone call.
Cover Today are the only over 50s life insurer with no waiting period and no annoying trips to the doctors either. Plus, you get your choice of a £125 gift card.
Now I'm with Cover Today, I can get on with something much more interesting.
To find out more about Cover Today, call our friendly UK team on 0800 380 0060 or visit covertoday.co.uk.
When facts are fragmented, we put the pieces together. Where power collides with truth, we are there.
Behind me is that massive security arrangements that are in place.
Behind fractured boundaries, we clear the fog of war. Fault Lines with Gauri Dwivedi, only on NDTV World.
In today's interconnected world, India's voice is more crucial than ever. When India speaks, the world listens. At NDTV World, we are that voice, bringing you intelligent and insightful news from India and beyond.
This is NDTV. And you're watching NDTV 24/7.
Hello viewers, welcome to the Southern View. To bring you all the updates across the southern states, myself Vijay Gopal Muralidharan from Karur, we have Sam Daniel from Chennai, we have Deepak from Bengaluru and Uma from Hyderabad. Before going into the southern stories, we have Gargi who have connected from New Delhi studio with some important story. Over to you, Gargi.
And the big focus on the bulletin remains the Karur tragedy, the Stampede tragedy, in which 41 people died during the TVK rally that was taking place there. To talk more about this, and there's a massive blame game that is currently underway. FIRs have been filed. The police are on the lookout for a functionary of the TVK. But to talk more about the kind of arrangements, what are the lessons learned, what can we do going forward in such situations, we're now joined by Kiran Bedi, a former super cop and governor. She needs no introduction. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us on the program. You must have been seeing for days, ever since the tragedy took place, the Stampede, there's been this massive political blame game, blame also being put on the police for the handling of this massive rally. After everything that you've seen, ma'am, first your comments on this tragedy and the lessons learned.
Oh, such tragedies are totally avoidable and preventable, provided there's prior planning, due communication and due diligence. When prior planning, proper communication and due diligence and working together as an administration and organizers is missing, such events happen.
That's right, ma'am. And what we've seen from the police as there's there's talk of intelligence failure, how they were not prepared for such a massive crowd, is that they have said that this rally was meant to have taken place at noon. It took place much later, several hours later, around 6 o'clock, is when you saw Vijay arriving. The crowds had swollen up by then, and they expected 10,000 people. It turned out to be 3 times that amount.
That's a failure of both police intelligence as well as the organizers' assessment. It's a mutual failure, and both are responsible. Police could have cancelled it. Police would have said, we cannot put people at risk. And they could have told the persons, organizers concerned, that it's your fault. But the point is, the crowd is beyond, and we don't have the capacity. We do not have a matching police arrangement. So the organizers could have done something else. They could have been advised to do audiovisual, they could have done a video interview, etc. See, the problem here is, what is the purpose of the meeting? What are the purpose of the organizers asking for this kind of rally? Is people. They want people. They want people to watch you, see you, connect with you, listen to you. But you cannot do it at the cost of vulnerable people who would come. So I think, and the police had a duty to assess that now there is a risk of stampedes, and that cannot be handled. So therefore, they could have found other ways of doing it. They should have discussed it with the organizers and found a way out. But you can't do one at the cost of the other. You have to take decisions. So police, now remember also one thing, police does not take such decisions in isolation. It's an administrative decision. Now this would have been a highly political decision because it would want to have political implications. Therefore, it's an administrative decision which should have huddled together and then directed and then taken a call. In this case, there's not only the police department involved, there's also administration involved. There's a magistracy involved. There's a secretary of home involved. There's a politician involved. There are a lot of people involved. And they should have all. The police is a face of the administration. So I think both ought to have taken a conscious decision protecting human safety.
Right, ma'am. Now, you said that the police having seen, or the administration having seen how the crowd had swelled up from 10,000 anticipated to, over 20,000 that were actually there on the ground, they should have cancelled this rally. Now, ma'am, somebody like you, when you were, in your heydays as a top cop, perhaps that's something you could have done. But let's face it, these things, as you yourself said, are very political. It's not easy for the administration to step in and cancel a rally. Already there's such a lot of blame game between the ruling DMK and TVK that is challenging them.
The cancellation does not just come by one announcement. They could have used social media. They could use television. They could have asked the organizers to come on television and make an appeal saying, sorry, the rally will now cost, it could lead to stampede. So appeals could come both from the organizers saying, I cannot do it, I can do it as a message. And the police also. So it's a mass communication, and today there's no shortage of resources to communicate. Social media, radio, television, announcements, and even the television, his own messages. So I think the onus lay on a mutual decision where both had a common purpose. Common purpose was not assemblies at human risk.
That's right, ma'am. And, if we see recently, we had the tragic stampede in June in Bengaluru after the IPL final. Now this tragic stampede again, in which 41 lives are lost. And somehow it's the police that does get the blame. They somehow become the scapegoat. We saw that in Bengaluru, and now once again here as well we're seeing this. Your comments on that, and going forward again, if you could just finally tell us what would be your words of advice, or what would you like the governments and authorities to now do in such situations?
That is exactly my point. The media only picks up the police. Media does not understand that police is a part of district administration. And in the district administration, there's a district collector. There is a home secretary. There is a chief secretary. And there's a home minister. And there's even a chief minister. So these are political leadership. And by the way, they would be even a member of the parliament. And by the way, they may be even a member of the legislative assembly whose constituency it is. All of them are stakeholders, and all of them are also decision takers and influencers. The police is the visible face of the administration, and it then decides to carry out. It's very rarely You see, this is crowd management. It's not crowd control. Had it been a small crowd, the police takes a spot decision to disperse the assembly and use other methods, lawful methods, of course. But here's an event which a crowd management, and it has political implications. You think only the police will say cancel? No, it would be an administrative decision, and the administration takes a brunt. Whether it gets the credit for it, whatever decision it takes, or the credit or discredit, whatever the decision is, you cannot put it only on the police. Police is an extension of the decision which administration takes collectively.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Kiran Bedi, for joining us on the program and sharing your comments there. Thank you very much again for joining us.
Thank you,
with that, thank you, ma'am. Let's go back to Vijay for more on the politics and the latest developments that are taking place after on the Karur tragedy.
Thank you, Gagi. That was Kiran Bedi who spoke exclusive to NDTV World. She said that both organizers and police authority are responsible for such a horrifying tragedy. But already investigation and behind, Tamil Nadu state government has formed one member with Justice Aruna Jagadishan to probe the incident. On the other side, police have registered a case. The investigation is going on. We have Sam Daniel from Chennai to speak more on this investigation angle. Sam, over to you. Can you able to give a clarification where the investigation presently stands?
Thank you, Vijay. That's right. Police have so far arrested two people, two district secretaries from Karur wing of the TVK, including the secretary who had written to the police asking for permission for Vijay's rally that turned into a stampede and killed 41 people. Police at the same time are also on the lookout for two key leaders, including Bussi Anand, the party's general secretary. We understand special teams are out looking for them. And 3 days after this tragedy, yesterday, Vijay issued a video statement. He neither apologized nor took ownership, but hinted at a possible conspiracy angle and said very soon the facts would emerge. And he hinted this is not going to be a setback for his party, that he will meet the families of those who died, and this will only make the party stronger in his political journey. And he also had a message for the chief minister asking him to take on him if there is any plan for vendetta, but not on his people, something the DMK has denied those allegations. And two leaders, both Bussi Anand and Nirmal Kumar, have also approached the Madurai bench of the Madras High Court asking for anticipatory bail, saying that they are innocent, they have been targeted in this, and that it's only a police failure. And the party's general secretary, another general secretary, Adhav Arjun, has also moved the Madurai bench of the Madras High Court seeking for a CBI probe alleging conspiracy by the ruling DMK. And the police blame it squarely on the TVK, the organizers, saying that there was terrible delay in Vijay's coming there, more than 7 hours, and there was no adequate supply of water, food, and other arrangements. And they deny that there was any power cut by them, and that the ambulances were needlessly sent in there. There is also a bit of politics in this, especially Vijay is being seen as a disruptor ahead of the 2026 assembly elections, and political parties also look at these developments as an opportunity to score brownie points. And so far, the government has announced a one-member inquiry commission under retired Justice Aruna Jagadishan, and based on their findings and recommendations, Chief Minister M.K. Stalin has said he would ensure a proper mechanism is formulated to make sure political rallies like this will be more streamlined, and there will be no repeat of this particular tragedy. So one can expect 2 more arrests at least in the coming days, and all eyes would be also on what the Madras High Court would have to say, particularly on demands for a CBI probe and anticipatory bail by these two leaders, Vijay.
Thank you, Sam. As Sam mentioned yesterday only, TVK chief Vijay released a statement over this tragedy in Karur. He hinted at the conspiracy behind this tragedy. He also questions Chief Minister M.K. Stalin for targeting his party cadres and functionaries. Even reacting to this just a while ago, DMK District Secretary, Karur District Secretary Senthil Balaji criticized Vijay, saying that when some mistakes happen, one should take responsibility before blaming others to divert things and not to politicize this. We have a lot of reaction to this. Let's listen to Vijay's speech, and the counter reaction follows to that.
அனைவருக்கும் வணக்கம். என் லைஃப்பில் இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு பெயின்ஃபுல்லான ஒரு சுச்சுவேஷனை நான் ஃபேஸ் பண்ணதே கிடையாது. மனசு முழுக்க வலி மட்டும்தான். இந்த சுற்றுப்பயணத்தில் என்னென்ன மக்கள் பார்க்க வராங்க, அதுக்கு ஒரே ஒரு காரணம் தான் அவங்க என் மேலே வச்சிருக்கிற அன்பும் பாசம். அந்த அன்புக்கும் பாசத்துக்கும் நான் எப்பவும் கடமைப்பட்டிருக்கிறேன். சிஎம் சார், உங்களுக்கு ஏதாவது இந்த பழி வாங்கணும் அப்படின்ற எண்ணம் ஏதாவது இருந்துச்சுன்னா என்ன வேணாலும் பண்ணுங்க. அவங்க மேலே கை வைக்காதீங்க. நான் ஒன்று வீட்டில் இருப்பேன், இல்லை நான் ஆஃபீஸில் இருப்பேன். என்ன வேணாலும் செய்யுங்க.
அதனால் இது ஒரு அரசியல் நிகழ்வாக இவங்க பண்ணாங்க, அவங்க பண்ணாங்க, இவங்க மேல குற்றச்சாட்டு, அவங்க மேல குற்றச்சாட்டுங்கிற அது போன்ற கருத்துக்களை நம்ம முன்னெடுக்காம இனி வரக்கூடிய நாட்களில் இது மாதிரி ஒரு துயர சம்பவங்கள் இருக்கக்கூடாது. ஏன்னா ஒவ்வொரு குடும்பத்திலையும் நம்ம நேரடியாக அவங்களோட பங்கெடுத்திருக்கிறோம், அவங்களோட அந்த நட்பு முறையில் நம்ம இருக்கிறோம். அந்த துயர சம்பவங்கள் என்பது யாராலும் 1.5 வயசு குழந்தை, 3 வயசு குழந்தை, 5 வயசு குழந்தை, இது மாதிரி இருக்கக்கூடிய ஒரு சூழல்ல ஒரு அரசியலா இது யாரும் பார்த்திட வேண்டாம். அரசியல் களத்துக்கு நம்ம அதுல போயிட வேண்டாம். வரக்கூடிய நாட்கள்ல இது மாதிரி எந்த அரசியல் கட்சியினுடைய கூட்டமா இருந்தாலும் இது போன்ற நிகழ்வு இல்லாத அளவிற்கு அது ஒன்று சேர்ந்து செய்ய வேண்டிய ஒரு பணி.
If Dr. Vijay really wants to deliver justice to those victims and whose families 41 lives are lost, he should ensure that he goes by the books of law rather than making cinema dialogues like how he makes in the movie. 3 days he was not in the picture. That itself has not gone well with the people of Tamil Nadu as well as his own cadres. So he should be seen with the thick and thin of the people who had laid their lives, 41 lives, because of the failure of this government and governance. Rather than trying to make political statements, it is well and good if he takes the due course of law to deliver justice for the affected victims.
Ma'am, how you see this entire blame game? One blaming another, and Vijay has also released a video message. So how you see this entire thing fanning out?
So Vijay actually released a video. Even though we think that he should come personally because of the political situation and because of the popularity, and there should not be another commotion and emotion in the Tamil Nadu. So he has released a video. My point is, why the government officials, a senior IAS officer who was not concerned with that department at all, and the DGP and the other police officials, they were releasing some videos, investigations, saying that we were on a correct path and only Vijay did a mistake. So before the investigations results came, why they did this? So these all put together, the government and the DMK is trying to fix all the blame on the Vijay, and they try to escape. They want to escape themselves because it is the mistake of the police also.
You also feel that there is some kind of conspiracy behind this incident, ma'am?
We strongly believe there could be some conspiracy because he has attended 2 or 3 programs in different districts, but he has also mentioned, when I entered Karur, there was an unusual situation. And another thing, most of the people, even the people interacted with our delegation also, they told some people were with knife, and even till now we are unable to pinpoint whether there was a current cut or there was a generator was switched off. The government is telling the generator was switched off, but the people are telling there was a dark situation, there was a power cut. And in between, some people are telling there was a mild lathi charge also. So all these things put together, so they try to create some confusion so that there could be a confusion created so stampede could occur.
And another important story from Tamil Nadu is another horrifying incident which is being reported from Thiruvannamalai. 2 constables have been arrested and they have been suspended for allegedly gang rape. The victim was a 19-year-old survivor. Victim was from Andhra Pradesh. She was on her way to